Welcome, everybody, back to the Nuggets of Gold podcasting YouTube channel. So it is going to be me and Aiden today discussing this 49ers Jaguars game, going over kind of previewing the matchups, and then giving our predictions for the game, what we kind of expect to happen, what we think the game's going to look at. Also, if it doesn't go like towards script, like what does that mean for the Niners? How are they going to look? How are they going to kind of combat that? Because we've seen, at least I feel this way, that we've seen them really flourish in the games that they're able to stay on script, get a lead, and get going. Like, they're able to really dominate those games. However, they've fallen behind in many games this year, and they've been pretty inconsistent when they fall behind. So something that's going to be very important for this game is getting a lead early. But Aiden, overall, what's your thought on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and what's your thought on the Niners matchup against them?
I think Niners match up well, should be able to run the ball, and that is the real indicator of how the Niners game is going to go. I think Kyle tries to run the ball. I think it's a total of 30 times. That's his goal going into every single game. Obviously, hit it against the Rams, but I think we're going to be able to run the ball. But I think it's going to be, I think the over under is set at 45, which is relatively low, but I still think the under will probably hit. I think it's a first team to 20 kind of game, and the Niners are going to need to control the clock and control the time of possession, which they did really, really well against the Rams at doing, to win this game. And I think defense is going to have success. Like, the Niners are more talented than this Jaguars team. They've looked better of late, but I expect the Niners to get the job done. Like, it's not it's not rocket science. You're beating the Jaguars, and if it doesn't get done, then the sky is falling in San Francisco again. So people are going to freak out, and I don't think Kyle wants to deal with that. So I think the players will be ready. I don't think that they're looking past anyone anymore because they need to win every single week. But let's get back to 500 this week.
Yeah, and it's something that's really huge when you start looking at this playoff picture. I thought about doing a segment on that this week, but I think we should wait till next week just to kind of see how this game goes, because I think that's something that's important. Like, how do you look against a team that I think the Jaguars fans are going to feel this way? It's not a very talented team. Like, yes, you have Trevor Lawrence, um, you have a couple pieces, you have Josh Allen, Miles Jack, great players. Defense outside of them isn't too good. There's a couple guys that are solid offensively. I mean, I feel like the receiving core isn't much to be desired. Jamal Agnew has been showing out a little bit lately. James Robinson, amazing running back. I think he is one of. I don't know if he's super underrated just because he kind of came onto the scene last year and a lot of people know who he is. But last season especially, he was really underrated, just being an undrafted running back. Also, a guy that Kyle wanted to get. I don't know if you saw it, and they were number 2 on the waiver claim for James Robinson. But this Jaguars team is a couple years from even kind of looking like they're going to be a team in contention. They have won, 2 of their last 3 games. Still a game where you expect the Niners to go, and at least I expect them to go and beat them very badly, to run the ball all over their defense. When you only have a couple guys that are like really good players, and you're playing against an offensive line like the Niners and the scheme like the Niners, where it's, okay, let's go impose our will on you. There's a rookie quarterback in the other end, not a very talented receiving core. Like, the ways, like the areas where the Niners have some weaknesses, I don't think the Jaguars are going to be able to exploit those much. However, for the Niners, they should be able to control the game and really just take off from the beginning of the game, play mistake-free football, like we saw against the Rams, force Trevor Lawrence into some rough spots, some third and longs. Hopefully you get a couple interceptions on his end. He hasn't really forced the ball as much later on in this year, but early in the year he was forcing the ball a ton. So try to get him into those situations where he has to force a pass where, they're down by double-digit points in the third quarter, and you're able to just take over the game and end it right after the halftime. I think that's what the Niners consistently want to do is, and of course every team wants to win, but like, they want to get ahead. They want to get ahead, and they just want to eat up the clock. That drive to start last week's game was amazing. You go out there and you hold the ball for 13 minutes. I was talking to one of my friends, and I was saying, like, this is like the most ideal start you could ever have to a football game. That first quarter, it was a perfect first quarter for the Niners. So hopefully, we see that in this game where they go out and they just kind of impose their will on the Jaguars. Couple big, I guess not really big injuries, but things to look at. Dre Greenlaw could be coming back. Yesterday we just posted a video on that, kind of discussing the implications of him coming back, him and Aziz, who's going to start. Elijah Mitchell, he's questionable, broke his finger, had surgery. Very, very tough, dude. He's expected to play. However, me and Aiden both think that you're going to see a little bit more of Jeff Wilson. You saw a little bit of him last week, probably going to see a little bit more this week, and maybe not a dual backfield, but I think you're going to see Mitchell as the one, Wilson as the two for the rest of the year, but where he's still getting a good amount of carries and he's still a factor in every game. Another person that keep kind of monitoring is Debo Samuel. He's been amazing. He's been one of the best offensive players in the NFL this year, and that is not an understatement. He has been that good. He is battling a calf injury. He is banged up, so hopefully that doesn't kind of get re-aggravated or anything like that. You want to see him continue to stay healthy and continue to play every day on Sunday. So I think that's a huge thing for this game. But any other specific matchups that you're kind of looking for in this one, Aiden?
Talked about yesterday how the Niners were able to own the trenches against the Rams, a good team up front. Super important for them to do that against the Jags. You mentioned the long drives. They had two 90-plus yard drives against the Rams. Jimmy made some timely throws, but a lot of that was on the ground, running the clock, 4 yards of play. That's something that Kyle loves to do. That's something that George Kittle loves to do. So want to see them own the line of scrimmage on the offensive and defensive end. Let's make Trevor Lawrence beat us. DBs looked really good against the Rams, and that's a really good passing offense. Let's make Trevor Lawrence do better than that. So I think this should be a win. Maybe the Jags come out with something crazy and they're able to dominate the Niners, but I don't really see that happening. So I think the spread is 6.5 for the Niners. I expect them to cover that potentially. I think it's a game where they win by a touchdown, and if they get out early, it could end up being over quickly. I think that that a good start is vital to rest some of these key guys. Hopefully, third, fourth quarter, get some other guys in there because we're starting. I mean, we're almost in December. And that's when playoff football really starts to pick up. And this Niners team with a win today, I think we're going to talk about it next week. They're back at 500 and they are firmly in that wild card race. So super excited to see how it goes, but expect the Niners to be back to 500 after Sunday.
Yeah, I'm fully there with you. My score prediction would be 24-13. I think it's one where the Niners don't completely blow out this team, but I think they go out. I think they get, if they can get a lead early, they will be able to maintain that lead. Force Trevor Lawrence into an interception or two, or a couple bad throws on third down, and really just eat up the clock and control the game like they're going to want to do. I mean, everyone knows that what they're trying to do. That's one of the things I think you notice about the Niners is any fan that's a Niners fan or not a Niners fan, they know what Kyle wants to do. They know how he wants to go out there and win these games. They know that they want to control the line of scrimmage. That's the biggest focus for this team is, can you go do that? And I think this is a great game for that. Defensively, the corners aren't super outmatched. It's not like you're looking across, and because I think that was one of my biggest concerns for the Rams game was, man, Cooper Kupp could have a great game. He could just get open. He could be open every single time. And you didn't really see that. And that was awesome. That was a huge step. Downfield, we saw Jimmy Ward have a massive game. I don't know if you saw on his pick six, someone motioned and he told the corner, no, you go over here. He moved someone, being the captain of that defense. So love to see that. When he is healthy, this secondary is so much better. Talanoa Hufanga, let's have him have a big play this weekend. That would be awesome. He's definitely flashed and looked pretty solid, but let's have him his kind of first interception or fumble recovery or forced fumble. I'd love to see that from him, or a big sack, something like that, where we can kind of see all right, this is potentially the future starting safety for this team. I don't think that's set in stone or anything, but it's definitely something that's a possibility right now. So keep having these guys on the back end, especially, start flourishing. Having health up front too on the defensive line is also very, very important. So gotta kind of just go out there, get the Jaguars into passing situations and take advantage of that. But that's going to do it for me today. Aiden, you want to do a score prediction real quick before we take off out of here?
Sure. I'll do 27-17 will be mine. So that's just below that under of 45, or that over under of 45 gets us to 44. I think Niners should win by double digits, but it should be interesting.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I don't think it's a game. If the Jaguars offense is putting up a lot of points, that's a very, very big concern. You got to go and you just got to control this game. You don't need to blow them out or anything, but you need to win the game and, you know, be clear that you're the better team. When anyone that's watching that game needs to know that. And I think that's something that the Niners are going to try. That's what they're shooting for every single week from here on out. It is there's no trap games for the Niners. Like that's not going to be a thing for them this year, because they are literally in a situation where they every single week it's like this is a not a Super Bowl caliber game, but it's a do or die game. It's going to feel like every week, and they're going to probably lose a couple. But if they do a very, very good job in the second half, they could go into the playoffs looking very hot. So that's something that's going to be really, really important. Got to continue it. The consistency has been a very big issue, especially for the defense. So don't want to have any lapses in this game. But that is going to do it for us today. Hopefully the Niners take care of business on Sunday, and we will talk to you guys after that game, and eventually talk about the playoff chances for this team. So we'll talk to you later. Thank you all for listening, and have a great